Every great revolutionary movement that you've ever read about, ever seen, ever studied, all of them take two things very seriously, in addition to military preparation, and that is educating the children and employing the adults. Because if you don't employ your own, they have no reason to be loyal to you. One of the biggest reasons African people have more sellouts than every other race put together. We have more sellouts and Negropeans than every other race put together. You just saw what Kanye West and Candace Owens did at the Paris Fashion Week with the White Lives Matter shirts. You see, no other race would ever do that. You will never see European Jews say German life matters. You follow me? You're not going to see the Ukrainians say Russian life matters. You're not going to see that. But two very well-known Africans, one of them a mega celebrity in Kanye West, and they would put on White Lives Matter shirt to make a mockery of the Black Lives Matters movement, which is born of a protest to eliminate police genocide, one of the 5 major problems that Black people have in this country. But getting back to my point, until we educate the children ourselves, you're going to get more Candace Owens. You're going to get more Kanye West. You're going to get more of them because there's no system in place by the Black community to prevent those types of mindsets from coming to the forefront. See, it's not about Kanye. It's the mindset Kanye represents. It's not about Candace. It's the mindset that Candace represents. They're just individuals. By themselves, they're not going to change nothing. But you keep on getting a whole generation of Black men who think like Kanye West, a whole generation of Black women who think like Candace Owens. You have a problem. That's why the education is important, to change the thinking. The employment is important to keep your adults loyal to you. See, it's hard for Black people to be loyal to the Black community because it does nothing for them. Why are our children killing each other? Why are they robbing each other? Why are they selling dope? You know why? Because the Black community does nothing for me. I never see it do anything for my mother. It didn't do nothing for my grandmother, my uncle, my auntie. How can you be loyal to a community that does nothing for you?
Well, right. It doesn't employ you. You don't get a job. You can't, in a lot of times, sometimes you get employed by different your own is always some type of financial issue with your pay that goes on in that situation. So yes, you're right. Out now, is it an issue we don't have the money to do it?
Oh, we have the money, my brother. We're a $2 trillion economy. We
Right.
are a $2 trillion economy. That means we're the 10th richest economic power on the planet. We are the wealthiest, speaking of non-material wealth. So we don't have oil and gas and gold and diamonds. In terms of income, we are the wealthiest African community in the world. The American African is the wealthiest African community in the world in terms of income. We always talking about Black Wall Street, but we don't own a single Black Wall Street. No city in America. 50 million Africans spread across 50 states. 50 million Africans spread across 50 states, and not a single community where we own the school to educate the people, the hospital to save the people, the bank to invest in the people, and the supermarket to feed the people. You don't have a single Black Wall Street in America. That is unacceptable. You have Latino communities self-contained, Chinese communities self-contained, Irish communities, Italian communities, Jewish communities, Cambodian communities, all these other ethnic groups who came to America after us. And don't get me wrong, I understand there were impediments put in our place, but in the post-Dr. King era, where we have had an explosion of income and occupation, an explosion of income, occupation, and credential, it is no excuse why you can't find a single Black community that has those 4 essential institutions. And you got these wealthy Blacks who will go buy $100 million mansion and put 50 cars in the garage. Will never be able to drive them all. 50 cars, but the ghetto that they grew up in is still just as disorganized and disenfranchised as it was when they decided to abandon it. Even when we get large amounts of money, we don't even use it in a constructive way.
Okay. Now, let me play devil advocate on that one, right? So, and it's just in my experience. Sometimes when you try to reach out to help someone who's less fortunate, is less fortunate than you, sometimes that turns on you. Could that be the reason why some of these people with all the money don't want to go back to those communities and bring it back up because it won't be appreciated?
Well, remember, and I totally understand your point, but I'm not talking about coming back to help individuals.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about coming back to build systems in communities.
Gotcha.
There's a big difference. I'm
Right.
not talking about a handout to nobody.
Yeah.
I'm talking about investing in a system. See, systems help entire communities.
Right.
You understand? You go to Africa and you put a fresh water system in the community, everybody can drink.
Right.
You see. And if you notice what the white philanthropists do and what the Negro philanthropists do, our athletes and entertainers, is exactly the same. When they come to the Black community, they help individuals. They never create systems. Walmart doesn't create no systems in the Black community. Okay. Right. Sears and Macy's, when they come, they will help a few Blacks. Because they know, as you know, the biblical adage says, you teach a man to fish, he can eat for a lifetime, but if you give him a fish, he only eats for a day.
Depending on
nobody wants to empower the Black community. Right. Nobody wants. So what do you do with the people who you have to give something to, but you don't want to empower? You make sure it's individual handouts. You give them a fish. You never give them the ability to fish for themselves. That's what all our athletes do. That's what white philanthropists do. That's why charity has never liberated anybody. Right. You can't go anywhere in the world and show me where charity has liberated people. You know why? Because charity comes from the rich to the poor. The rich have no intention of liberating the poor. So they only give you crumbs, and they give you just enough to survive for the moment. They never put you in a position to survive forever. We don't need handouts. We need systems. Come create an economic system, a school system.
Right.
We need systems.
I would have to. I see your point on that, because when you go, like, say, if you can't pay your light bill, you can go down to the local one of those charity places. They'll give you just enough to pay the light bill.
Just enough to pay the light bill.
Problem's going to exist next month because people are not making their bills.
Absolutely. If you look at all the handouts that have been given to Black Africa and Black America, if you look at all the poverty programs that have been implemented in Black Africa, Black America, Black Caribbean, anywhere where we are, you would say, why are there any Black people in poverty when you look at the type of charity that has been given to the Black community? Because they're not giving you systems of liberation. They're not giving you systems of empowerment. They are giving you isolated donations and acts of charity that you cannot build upon to empower yourself.
Right. And make you stand in line for it.
And make you stand in line for it. How much you want bet? I done studied you Negroes. I know you. The whole Teppers too. They be fighting too with their ankhs on their neck. Fighting with the white man with an ankh on their neck. It'll be Moors over there. Some Moors will be fighting with them. Some Hebrews will be fighting with